Welcome back. My name is Kit.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Alien Earth. We're going to talk about our overall thoughts on the newest show and the newest entry in the Alien and Predator and Blade Runner franchise. It's on Hulu. It's FX on Hulu. It's a complicated thing. We watched the first 2 episodes. That's all that's publicly available. We'll give our overall thoughts on everything, talk about it for a good while without spoilers, and then we'll have an ad break and then get into some spoiler discussions. We're not going to do the full Streaming Things play-by-play style, just because we don't have time to do this episode by episode anyway. So, why tease you? Why edge you?
Yeah.
We're just going to give you a kind of a crossing streams version of Alien and what's going on so far. If you're big, fans of what we do, you might have already seen the YouTube video at youtube.com/@moviesarttherapy, where Steve and I already discussed a lot of what we're going to say here today. And if you haven't seen that, which looking at the views, most of you fall in that category, then this will all be new and fun to you. So that's fun. Andy's not here, by the way. He's going to miss a couple of episodes this week. He's out of town on personal business. I'm not going to say it's like secret government stuff, but
it's secret government stuff.
He's fishing. Like literally not fishing for something. Like he's got a pole and there. What is it? Yarn? What do they use?
You think people fish with yarn?
I got my chicken livers, my cut up hot dogs. And this might surprise you because I'm not an outdoorsman, but I've done quite a bit of fishing in my lifetime, Steve. So the yarn joke was a joke. I lived for the first 15 years of my life in one apartment complex, and it featured a lake in the center at one point. And eventually they drained it and built some more apartments. But yeah, so when I was a wee tot, we just walked down the hill, reel in some bluegill, every now and then a bass.
Nice. We also might want to let everyone know that we're also recording remotely this week as well. There's some
none of their business
health shit going around, so we're playing it safe.
Yeah, I had sort of a chest bursting issue this morning, somewhat, except it was my ass. And so
you're the alien from Dreamcatcher.
That's
the shit
right.
weasel.
That's right. That's a deep cut reference for only you and I. I did it. Yeah, but that's what we're going to do. Sorry, Andy's not here. We'll get through it as best we can. We'll all overcome it. I got to say though, Steve, I wanted to rewatch the first 2 episodes of Alien in anticipation of doing this because it's been almost 5 days now, and I couldn't do it. Not because of time, even though everything's been crazy and I am really busy. I wanted to talk to you about your experience with having the ads. Did you have like 5 or 6 commercials in each episode when you were watching Alien?
No, I did not.
Really?
I have an ad-free plan of Hulu.
That's what's got me so angry, because so do I.
Oh.
This has never happened to me before. I've never been watching Disney Plus or Hulu and experienced a commercial of any kind. Like I know Prime Video does that thing now where they play like a minute and a half of commercials at the beginning, like pretty much no matter what tier you're at.
Yeah.
And that's annoying. But yeah, I had like 6 ad breaks, and you can't. So I go in the app after the first episode, I back out and I go to the profile settings, and it's like you have to go like on a desktop to look at, your subscription settings. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I just watched the second episode in deep pain. And then the next day I logged in on my laptop and I go to my subscription and it says it's a bundle, Disney Plus Premium, Hulu, no ads. Bundle.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing higher. If there was, I would pay it.
That's so weird.
Yeah. What's going on, man?
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, we didn't have ads when we watched it. I mean, you can tell where ads would be because the show actually is kind of edited as if they anticipated ads. Because I guess it appears on FX as well as Hulu. But you can tell like, oh, that's where an ad would go because it cuts to black for like a second and then the show starts back up.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't strike me because a lot of shows are like that nowadays. But no, I didn't have any ads pop up on my end at all. That's strange.
Well, I need to figure that out because that is a struggle to try to get through that show with so many ads. And it's not even good ads. Like when we were kids, it was like Crossfire and, the colors, Duke, the colors. And you're like, oh, this is kind of fun and in its own separate way. It's just completely separate bullshit ads.
Yeah. No, and this is a show that like the pacing is really methodical and slow. And so I'm imagining having that interrupted by bullshit I can only assume they're Liberty Mutual ads, or something.
Liberty
right?
Bibberty.
I can only imagine having that show broken up like that is infuriating, and I wouldn't blame you for not wanting to go back and experiencing it that way.
It was. So I need to figure that out. But anyhoozle, we'll talk about our overall thoughts, how the show's going so far. It's created by Noah Hawley, and he's a showrunner well known for the legendary show Fargo, which was not a spinoff, but based on the popular Coen Brothers movie. Are you a fan of Fargo? I'm sure we've talked about this before.
I've never seen the show. I've seen the movie, though.
Oh, the show is so good, especially the first 2 seasons. But it's got, 5 seasons now? And like 4 of them are like really great. And like 3 of them are masterpieces. Highly recommend. And he also made a show called Legion with Dan Stevens and eventually Aubrey Plaza back in like 2016 or so. So he's got a good pedigree. He's got some good stuff going on. I was excited for this. I'm obsessed with the Alien franchise, as I know, Steve, you're a huge fan as well. It stars Sydney Chandler as Wendy. Did you know that you know who Sydney Chandler's dad is? Even if you don't, you could probably guess.
Kyle Chandler?
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't know that until you just posed the question, and my brain was suddenly like, oh yeah, that's his face on her face. That's obviously his daughter. Holy shit.
I could tell your brain went, Chandler, not the one from Friends. Okay. Yeah, that's Kyle Chandler's daughter. And I've only ever seen her in one other thing. She was in a show no one but me watched. It was a Danny Boyle TV show about the Sex Pistols. I think it was called The Pistols or something. But yeah, I've set the stage very poorly. And Steve, I'm curious, what was it like watching the first 2 episodes of this show?
Watching the first 2 episodes of the show was very interesting. I think I mentioned it in our previous video, but I really love a lot of aspects of the show. There are other aspects of it that I feel like I either A, have to get used to them, or I just have to see how the story plays out to really decide if I like it or not. I think the production design of the show is immaculate. Like, I really love the set design. I really love the look of it. It's a very expensive looking show. You can see the money on screen in a good way. Like, everything looks, properly lived in. They've really managed to meld the different looks of your classic Alien movie, like the claustrophobic, lived in, somehow always wet spaceships of the Nostromo from the first Alien movie. Why are those hallways always wet? But they are.
For the same reason you can always smoke on these spaceships.
Right. People wake up from their long sleep and the first thing I pack my ciggies with me so I can just immediately light up as soon as I'm done napping.
I get it, honestly. Yeah. It's probably amazing. Yeah. I haven't had a cigarette in 63 years.
Before I get the protein paste to make my body feel fuel, I need the nicotine hit. But they've managed to get that aesthetic and then the more clean, pristine, technologically advanced aesthetic of like a Prometheus. And they've combined them in a really great way. Like, it's like, of course, the Nostromo has the derelict, gross looking environment because that's for the pores to work on, right? And Prometheus looks like what it does because that's Dr. Weyland's ship, right? Also, should we say minor spoilers for the other movies?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we're presuming you've seen the other Alien movies.
Yeah. So, no, I really like the aesthetic. I think it's really great. I think the Alien looks amazing. The cast, I think, is awesome. I think, like you said, Sydney Chandler's great. It was so awesome to see Alex Lothar pop up, Nemec from Andor. Like, oh man, I hope by the end of this season he writes a kick-ass manifesto that just rocks the ages, right? It's like an anti-capitalist manifesto that's like, Weyland-Yutani just sees us our slaves. We can rise up, people, let's go.
It's going to be 100 pages about Ice Age.
Yeah, it's not a capitalist manifesto. It's just merely his thesis on the Ice Age franchise. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. I think Babu Sise, is that how you pronounce his name? I'm probably butchering that, but I think he's wonderful as Morrow. I'm really interested in that character. The first 2 episodes really got me invested. Like, oh, what's this guy's deal? What's he doing? I'm super interested to see where that goes. And then, of course, it's fun to see Timothy Olyphant run around as Kirsch. I love what they've done to his hair and face.
Not the eyebrows.
Well, yeah, it's like it's very much a choice, but I'm here for it. I don't want to say too much about it, why it's a choice until we get into spoilers, but it's cool. I have a love-hate relationship with the pacing, especially in the first episode. It does feel slow, but it's a methodical kind of slow, and I think it's going to build up and be worth it. And then they do the thing with like, and they've done this in the Alien franchise since the first movie, but the like slow cross dissolves. I think they use that to such great effect, but it is a little discombobulating at first. Like you take some time to get used to the visual language of what they're saying because he really leans into that. And cross dissolves are interesting because it's not something that I think modern television shows use that often. It's very much a 70s, 80s sort of trick, but I love what they're doing with it here. I think they're doing a really great job, especially in the intro. They're using the intro as kind of a, instead of like your Game of Thrones, here's the map, right? We're teaching you the map of Westeros. The intro for Alien Earth really is more like a previously on in a very visually stimulating, classically filmed way. And I think that's really clever and smart. There are some things that I'm interested to get into in spoilers that I think is kind of strange. Like there's a little bit of a weirdness to the Lost Boys aspect of it. We'll get into it later, but there's some character choices that are like, I don't hate it, but I'm kind of like, I wonder where they're going to go with that. And it depends on how they land that ship. That's really going to make me decide whether or not I dislike it. But so far, I think this is a great show. It's really, really awesome. It's got me hooked and I'm interested to see more of it. In fact, I was so amped about Alien after watching that show. You're going to be proud of me, Kit. I went back and rewatched Prometheus. I rewatched Alien Covenant, and I watched for the first time Alien Romulus.
Oh, awesome. So I have two follow-up questions then to your overall thoughts. Fuck all that.
Okay.
Fuck Alien Earth. Was my passion for Covenant and Prometheus helpful at all? Did you have a different lens of it? And then what did you think of Romulus?
I watched Romulus first because I had not seen that before, and I just wanted to watch it just so I knew. I loved Romulus. Like that movie really, I love the look of it, the visuals of it. It was amazing. Rewatching Prometheus, I liked Prometheus a lot more this time around than I did the original time I watched it. And I think that's because I knew what it was. I didn't have this expectation of what an alien movie is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I totally forgot that Sean Harris and Benedict Wong are in that movie. So seeing the pop, like, oh shit, oh my God. I still think Sean Harris's character and the other guy with the glasses are the two dumbest scientists in the history of film. And I really don't like their parts in the movie, but like,
it is weird when they catch him in that room and he's messing with the ovomorph and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I've got to catch Ethan Hunt. And it's like, what?
But Alien Covenant, I love everything that David's in. I don't like that movie over. I still am not super sold on Covenant specifically, but I like David's story more than anything.
Making headway though, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Romulus is great. It's still the most controversial thing I've ever said online is like really being hard on that movie. And I was I was too hard on that movie. I mean, I'll admit it now, but I was so upset because, not to toot my own horn, I will toot it a little bit, but I was like a very early investor in Fede Alvarez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really, really love 2013's. It's my favorite Evil Dead movie, and that's fucking insane to say. But the 2013 remake is so gnarly, and the Don't Breathe movies. The first one, it's big fan of the way he moves the camera and builds tension. And I'm also a huge Alien fan. You know what I mean? So it's just like my hype going into Romulus. Also, very early adopter in Kaylee Spaney stock. Very early adopter in David Johnson stock, because the rom-com Rye Lane, underrated, incredible. I'm just like all cylinders. I'm like, this is for me. And I rewatched for the 10th time every single Alien movie in like 2 days right before that movie came out. Like I was doing the whole thing. And I still think my argument remains, because everybody's like, oh, a real Alien fan would love this movie. And I think it's the opposite in a weird way, in the sense that a casual Alien fan is going to think this movie is literally the tits. Like it's just the best you could possibly have an Alien movie be, because they don't know almost every cool thing about that movie is an homage, is the kindest word, to a moment in one of the other movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was talking to Erica. I was saying like that movie was really fun. It's almost 100% derivative of other things that came before it. In fact, the last 10 or 15 minutes of that movie, I think, are the thing that separates it the most from all the other movies, but it's still a derivative of like Prometheus and Covenant. You know what I mean?
And
But it's
Resurrection.
and Resurrection. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I always forget about Resurrection. You're
Resurrection.
Right.
Resurrection ends almost the same way.
Yeah. And like the thing that makes it the most unique is just the relationship between Kaylee Spain. I can't remember her character's name, but her character and Andy. That relationship is really fun. And I that's the thing I love the most about it and why I love the movie the most. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty derivative of all the other movies. But, you know, and I totally understand where you're coming from with your observation about Rook's character in that movie. I completely agree with you on that front for the most part.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe Alien, and you'll love this, I think. I actually stole it from Dave Chen, but he calls it the Force Awakens of Alien. And as somebody who loves Force Awakens and totally acknowledges it's just a complete rehash, and, you know, I don't know why Romulus hit me differently than probably because I don't care about Star Wars. And so I was just like, dude, this is all just the best parts. Plus now we got Daisy Ridley. This is awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Romulus, I was like really high on the different things Ridley Scott was doing on the prequels and so excited for Fede Alvarez to just make it gnarly as fucking, but there's so much cool shit in that movie. Like the 0G aliens reference.
Yeah, that was
is amazing. Cool. And just seeing like a whole horde of face huggers chasing people down is so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, the facehugger aspect of that movie is top notch.
There's a scene where one guy pulls one out and you see more than you've ever seen before how invasive that is, and that it's so bad. Some great stuff in that movie. Yeah, but I will never get over the Ian Holm thing, and I think that once you're like grossed out and upset by that, all the derivative stuff just like hits you, so you have less patience for it. You know, if they had put a new actor or David Johnson or Michael Fassbender or Lance Henriksen there, I would have been like, this is so fun, you know, but I'm so mad at the other thing every time I see it. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about Alien Earth before I deliver some nonsense?
No, you get into the nonsense. All the stuff I want to talk about, I would save for spoilers.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really digging this show. Just like Steve, I love the production design. I think it's a gorgeous, very expensive looking show. Honestly, I'll kind of eat anything sci-fi up. For the most part, I have a pretty high tolerance for tomfoolery in my sci-fi, and especially in the Alien franchise. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Alien Covenant and Prometheus. There are some things that are very unlike the rest of the franchise to get used to. That's very strange, and we've never seen a TV version of this, and we've never seen Earth really, not much. And so the contemporary music. There's only a couple of cons, and they're not even cons. They're just things I have to adjust to. But there's a lot of contemporary music and needle drops, not even diegetic, like they're just in the soundtrack. And that's very strange to me to hear. The only two I can remember are Black Sabbath and Tool. The Tool one took me way the fuck out. Even though I love that song.
What was the name of that song?
Stinkfist.
Stinkfist.
The name of that song is Stinkfist, Stephen. And also, you know, the Ice Age continental drift of it all is quite strange, but it makes sense. I mean, we're on Earth, so they've got Earth media. It's funny to me to imagine that continental drift is just crushing it with the kids 100 years later.
That classic children's film, Continental Drift.
Did you have the same feeling though? Like when he's playing Peter Pan, that wasn't weird to me at all, even though it's 60 years older than Ice Age. Because it's like, that's a fucking classic. You know, that's part of human culture. Like people are going to be talking about Peter Pan until the meteor finally takes Earth out. But Ice Age, I feel like, will go away probably by 2036, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. There's a couple of sort of futuristic sci-fi anachronisms or whatever that kind of make the vibe feel weird. It's also weird that the show is somewhat simultaneously, like you said, it's kind of a slow burn, but also certain things move strangely fast plot wise. And that takes some getting used to. It's like, I wish it would pick up the pace, but simultaneously, how are we here already? But yeah, ultimately, the job of a premiere of a TV show is do you want to watch more? Are you curious? The answer to those things is a resounding yes. This is a show that takes place 2 years before the events of the first film. So Alien in 1979 was set in 2122. This is a 2120 set show. And we've got a xenomorph and some other things on Earth. And I don't think any of this is a spoiler to say. It's called Alien Earth, and it's been in all the marketing. That sets the stage. And we'll get into, and they do a lot of great stuff with like expanding the lore and exploring different kinds of ideas for what to do with this universe that I can't wait to talk about in spoilers. That's really exciting stuff. But yeah, ultimately, huge but trepidatious thumbs up from me so far,
Agreed.
You ready to get to spoilers?
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to shout out something. So you remember so if you watched our previous video, we got into a longer discussion about the Stinkfist song. And I said something like, that sounds like a name you would give Sasquatch. And I just want to point out, I said that because there is a friend of the pod, a listener, if you will, who actually made a movie called Sex Squatch. And the titular Sex Squatch is named... No, not Joey. It's named Stinkfist. So that's where I got that from. I unlocked that memory as we were talking about it, like, wait, was that? Yeah. So shout out to Chris, listener of the pod.
Interesting. We got to watch this movie. Okay, let's get into it then. We're going to talk about spoilers for Alien Earth. So if you have not seen the first 2 episodes of the show, then you're going to want to pause this, go watch them, and then return. Spoilers ahead for Alien Earth, the first 2 episodes after a brief break from one of our sponsors.
Hey there, Stream Fiends. August is upon us, and it's that golden hour of summer where the days are still long, the nights are still warm, and we're soaking up every last bit of the late summer magic. So whether you're headed back to school soon or clinging to the vacation of summer, we're glad you're spending some of that time with us. So before we go on with the show, we want to celebrate the legends who help keep this show going strong, our super patrons. These are the folks that support us at the $25 or more tier each month on Patreon, and their generosity fuels everything we do. So thank you, John Collins, Hannah Zito, Sun-Loving Mortal, Carrie Sink, Xander Barbarian, Daniel Pack, Phil S, Nice Guy Eddie, Deep Substrate Foliated Calcite, Jordan Garvin, Albus Stinkpot, Maddlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Jim E, Lady Trashley, Sean Myers, Just Liz Calabria, Brett X, E Scramo, Little Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bluff Pub, AK Ashley Ray, Jay Rich, Upside Down Canuck, Big Butthorn, Josh Stitch, Jer, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elbander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, Trisha Bueller, Alex G, Suzanne Road, Sean Callahan, Jadinklage Morgoon, Kalisha Reeves, Paolo Garcia, That Brenda, Aaron Armstrong, Hootie Hoo, Ashley Powers, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you again so much to everyone who supports us. And with that, let's get back to the episode.
And we're back. Again, we've seen the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth on Hulu in their entirety. We got a bunch of cool things to talk about. For me, I think one of the best things about the show, and I said this in my main review everywhere else, is that to me, I think it's lighter on the sci-fi horror aspect. I think the whole Lost Boys thing, just kind of Wendy's persona in general, their childlike mentality, and a couple other things that I find kind of funny about Noah Hawley's like kind of tonal style. Even though there's a lot of massacring and blood and gore, there's never a whole lot of like scary tension in that way, which makes the show feel really like cyberpunky. And I'm a huge fan of that genre. Love the game Cyberpunk 2077. Also, if you're talking about Kit Lazer early investments, when that game dropped, everybody was like, this is too buggy to even play. And I put like 120 hours into it before they even fixed it. Like, I love that shit. Anyway.
The thing I remember most about that game is Andy telling me it was so good. I'm like, I heard it crashes a lot. He's like, no, come check it out. And it crashed immediately when he turned it on.
When he tried to show it to you?
Yeah, you tried to show it to me and it just immediately crashed.
Dang. It never crashed on me. Maybe once, but out of like 120 hours, every game does that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, I like the whole bit about it even says it in like a title card at the very beginning of the show. They want you to understand this because it's pretty important. But we're used to what's called a synthetic human. We've seen a lot of those. We talked about them in this episode already. There's Ash and Rook and Andy and David and Bishop. Those are completely fake humans. They're androids. They're robots.
Where's the respect for my boy Walter?
Walter, my apologies. Well, he got replaced by David, so I always forget him. I'll do the fingering. That scene is amazing. People are wrong.
It is a good.
But we got new things now. You talked about Morrow. He's a cyborg, so he's just a human who's been augmented in some way cybernetically. We know that he has a fake arm. You and I posited that he might have some other things going on just because his emotions seem kind of stunted at times. And the way he communicates with Mother is different than a human typically would. And then now there's a secret third option. And that's what the whole show is pretty much about. It's what our main character, Wendy, is a hybrid. So they're a synthetic human with human consciousness downloaded into them. So she has the mind of a 13-year-old girl in Sydney Chandler's 29-year-old body. And she's a robot. She's got a supercomputer for a brain. Doesn't have the same kind of like endorphins and chemicals, to control her emotions. All kinds of interesting things to kind of explore.
I really loved that sort of explanation they went through because there's a scene with Kirsch and Dame Sylvia, Timothy Oliphant and Essie Davis.
I know she's a dame.
She's a dame. Was she knighted? Was she in this world?
I don't know, but I remember you saying, I know she's a dame because we couldn't remember her name.
Yeah, Dame Sylvia is her name. But I love that discussion when they're kind of evaluating Wendy and they're saying, hey, we're trying to like give you the approximation of hormones because that's essential to a human being's growth, but you're not going to experience those really. And that we don't know what that's going to cause if a person doesn't ever go through that and experience adulthood in that way. And I thought that was really cool that they were thinking of stuff like that. I really appreciate the science of it.
Yeah, I was talking, somebody commented on one of my videos somewhere else and they said, are they going to be like children with adult bodies like forever? And I was like, well, but it's just fun to think about. It's a fun question to even have to ask, right? But I was like, I wouldn't think so. I think maturing just naturally comes from living and experience. You know what I mean? Of course, your brain does literally grow and develop, especially the frontal lobe, things like that. But their brains are already developed beyond what even a human's would be, much less a child's, right? They're given supercomputer brains. So I imagine they're already immediately changed somewhat personality-wise, and they'll very quickly mature. I would guess. I mean,
that one shot of her like sitting on the side of the cliff, like, oh, it's time for me to go, and she just hops off. Hey, that's fun. Like,
I didn't love that. It didn't look super great. Like the way she didn't even do a superhero landing, and it was just too comfy. It's a cool way to show how like much different they are physically than humans. Mm-hmm. But also, I don't think we've ever seen a synthetic human do anything like that in any of the movies. You know what I mean? We know they're stronger and faster, but Jesus Christ, that was like 150 feet,
I did appreciate that she didn't do a superhero landing because as a almost 38-year-old, my first thought was, ooh, her knees. But she doesn't have to worry about that shit.
No, she doesn't. It was strange, but I'll take it, I guess. Like if you do anything, if you did 3 stories, it would have been like, that would have had the same effect and been like, I don't know. We'll see. It might come in super handy later on, plot-wise, to know that she could do that.
Sylvia because she immediately was like, race you back, and then Captain America sprints away, and Dame Sylvia's like, God fucking damn it took me half hour to walk out here. Jesus.
You're going to win, you bully. She just jumps back to the house. Yeah, like that stuff is really neat to explore. And I love what they're doing with the world of Earth and the potential commentary that they have in store there. The Earth is run by essentially 5 corporations instead of governments. We've got, of course, Wayland Yutani. We're used to that one. We've got a company called Dynamic. and a company called Prodigy, which is run by a guy named Boy Cavalier. He basically founded Napster, and then now he's working on Immortality. Super douchebag young tech bro. And the other two companies, I'm sure you wrote them down. You're that kind of guy. Did you do that?
Lynch and Threshold.
Ooh, don't like those names.
Right. That's according to Collider.
Cool. So we got 5 main companies. We never heard of any of them except for Weyland-Yutani, at least to my knowledge. But it's really neat, I think. The franchise has always been about partially a critique of capitalism, or hugely, I should say, a critique of capitalism and man's hubris. So that's really neat. But yeah, the setup is awesome for this show.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of putting a human consciousness into a robot and how that kind of changes their upbringing, and does that keep them connected to humanity? And I like how the doctors are trying to like maintain. They're actually like kind of, even though it's wildly unethical what they're doing in a way, the doctors are refreshingly like they care about the kids themselves and want them to grow up as normal as possible. Except for maybe Kirsch. Kirsch seems to have his own sort of agenda, but we'll see if that's the case. His sort of relationship with all of them, where it's like, you're not a human anymore. Quit acting like a baby. Come on. Fear is for humans. You're not a human anymore. You were meat, right? Like
he's a no nonsense, tough paternal figure. He's just old fashioned. Well, he's a robot, obviously, but I also think there's almost like a strange fondness that he has for them. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he does seem to kind of care about them in his own weird robot way.
Yeah, he just seems to have his own sort of, at least I don't know if you have the same impression. I feel like he has his own agenda separate from everyone else.
They always do in these movies, right? I guess it remains to be seen what his prime objective is, but isn't Weyland-Yutani the one that made synthetic humans?
Yeah, Dr. Weyland made David in Prometheus.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange that Boy Cavalier would own one, but I bet there's some like company loyalty embedded that no prime directive can overcome.
He's got that Rook prime directive, do what's best for the company, and he's doing some corporate espionage. Maybe.
Those eyebrows. You can't trust those eyebrows.
And this whole world that they've built for Earth at this point there is a technological arms race to basically solve the problem of immortality.
Death.
Mortality, right? So like we want obviously the rich people, the trillionaires, to live forever. I'm sure they wouldn't offer that down to the poors, but that's this arms race they're going through. And I like how politically volatile that makes the Earth, not in this Cold War kind of way where these companies coexist and they own their own parts of the world. But there is that like, hey, we'd like to work together or we'll fucking cut your throats behind your back, that kind of thing. I like that drama that they have layered underneath what's happening on screen.
Yeah, I'm really digging all that stuff, and it's all very much in line from the kind of thing that we're used to with these movies. Not only the critique of capitalism, but the idea that these corporations or the people leading them are just obsessed with the idea of extending human life. It's in every movie, even like the Alien versus Predator movies. You've got Charles Bishop Weyland is near death. He's got some kind of cancer or something like that. I can't recall, but that's the whole reason that he's going to Antarctica to figure out what's in here. Even in Alien Romulus, that's what Rook's prime objective is to take that goo that he made from the xenomorphs and perfect human life for extending their lifespan and making space travel more safe. And so it's always an aspect of these movies. And so that's very clever.
And he's just sitting on the table that whole time thinking, nailed it.
Yeah.
Crush that directive. No notes. Yeah, I think now that you mentioned it, I think there's a line in Romulus where they're looking around and one of the guys, I think Bjorn, looks at like a Weyland-Yutani logo and it's like, and looks at Andy like, oh, your makers are here. So he's a Weyland-Yutani robot as well.
Yeah, I thought that was their proprietary technology. So it's strange that Prodigy would be so trusting. It'd be like a Bill Gates just taking his iPhone into a super secret Microsoft vault, which I guess he probably would do that, but I'd be a little weirded out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really dig this setup, and it's strange, but it's very Noah Hawley to have so much Peter Pan lore and Ice Age lore, and this idea that I will say this, they try to make the emotional center of this show Wendy, the fact that she's actually a young girl and she misses her brother, who's a local medic. And it's cool too, because Prodigy, the company, has its own city, Prodigy City. And so the police, the hospitals, all that, they're all just people who work for Prodigy. It's not government infrastructure. So they all follow the interests. Like, it's just hyper. This is late stage capitalism, you know? And that's all neat, but I don't really care about how much she misses her brother. And I think it's neat that she's the reason he's stuck there. It's like, she can we didn't even talk about that, but she even has like Cyberpunk 2077 hack powers. Like, it's almost telepathy magic, but it's supposed to be based in computer stuff. And so she like makes him stay there.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people were complaining about the idea that the corporation, Boy Cavalier, would send these young, essentially children in robot bodies to go help out in the tragedy that happens, because, you know, they're kids. But I think from his point of view, he knows that she was able to unlock the potential of her brain to rewrite the code and track him because of her connection to her brother. And then he's thinking like, oh, I can see what else they can do if I send her there to see what she ends up doing to save her brother. I think that's what they're going with that reasoning.
I think complaining about that is fucking wild. No offense.
Online, at least, there's three big things that people have been like harping on the show about, and it's the kids being sent to help out in the disaster. It's and this is the one that I think is so dumb. Well, actually, the last two are really, really dumb. The second one is the search and rescue people having guns, like search and rescue, and like having like people take issue with that for some fucking reason, even though they clearly state this is a Yutani ship that crashed into a Prodigy City, basically separate nations. And from their point of view, they don't know if this is a terrorist or act of war, right? So that makes sense why they would have that, in my mind at least. And then the third complaint I've seen online is that how did the city not know there was a giant spaceship coming and crashing into them? But they set that up. They ran into the comms tower and the apparatus that sort of engages the landing sequence. So like that went dark, and there's just no way for them to communicate to the city. So I don't know why. I just don't think people understood what was happening in the moment. So that's why they're harping on it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of valid critiques you could have of this, or at least hesitances, you know, that you could have about this show. But none of those are none of those. Those are all addressed in the main text. I think that the search and rescue having guns thing that's dumb. You guys never saw a policeman in your life before? Did you know policemen show up to accidents? The fuck? But also, like you said, that thing that the ship crashes into, I think is supposed to be like the immigration checkpoint from space. And the idea would normally be to fly through it, stop, talk to people over comms, and then head on to Earth. And obviously things are going wrong. So it like hit that. And like you said, it knocked off the thing. So maybe it couldn't even like communicate to the ground. Also, it's a whole planet. So no telling where it's going to, who do you warn? All of Earth? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess, but there's so many different reasons to allow your willing suspension of disbelief to discount that. But the first thing I think is also really
explicitly say that he knocked out the comms on that station, so the station couldn't even communicate to Earth that something was wrong.
They probably did. But I also think the idea that Boy Cavalier, like, you don't like the fact that, oh, he would never send those kids. Why? What about that character has led you to believe he's careful in any way, or gives a fuck about other people in any way? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I think he really just wants to see what happens more than anything else. His name is literally Boy Cavalier. And he's very cavalier.
Say his name.
He's very cavalier about things. It's obvious. So that's funny to me. CinemaSins just really ruined everybody for all time.
I think what a portion of it is, a lot of people were very hesitant in an alien show that's basically being produced and run by essentially Disney, which, because, you know, there's always those people like, oh, Disney's making something's got to be terrible, which, I mean, there's definitely criticisms you can lobby towards Disney for sure. Absolutely. But I think a lot of people just have that in their mind and are immediately set to tear the show down because of that.
It's a show about voraciously greedy corporations, huh?
We got to promote Peter Pan.
Is Ice Age a Disney movie? Probably, right?
It was a Fox movie, and Fox is owned by Disney now. So yeah.
That's how they got away with it. 20th century. Yeah, I as somebody who like immediately vibed with Prometheus and Covenant, you know, taking what I know about Alien and going in a completely different direction is not new to me, you know, and I think that shouldn't be new to anybody. They're all very, very different from one another. You know, you've got space horror slasher of Alien. You've got balls to the wall action Alien and Aliens from James Cameron. Alien 3, a lot of my homies like that movie a lot. I hate that movie. Doesn't really matter. It's still like its own third separate thing for sure. And then Resurrection's like this Paul W.S. Anderson fucking movie. It's like the first Resident Evil set in Alien for no reason whatsoever. And that movie kind of rocks in its own weird, bad way. And yeah, so and even Prometheus and Covenant are vastly different from one another. You know, Prometheus was like this. Which I love that he called it Prometheus and not Alien Prometheus, because it's like it's not even an alien movie. There's no xenomorph in it. You know what I mean? It's
wild
its own
that they
thing.
did that. They would never do that today. If they made Prometheus today, they would be so like, it's an Alien prequel. It's an Alien prequel. Everyone come see the Alien prequel. It's called Alien Prometheus.
Yeah, it's crazy that he got away with that. And like marketing would never, it would have to be an Alien colon for sure.
Yeah.
But then they brought it back for Covenant because by the end of that movie, it is an Alien movie. And I think they're fucking genius. And they both did pretty financially well also, even Prometheus. Mm-hmm. But anywho's, yeah. So I'm really used to this kind of, it's Alien kind of, you know, whenever I watch anything new that's in the Alien world. This is fucking super weird. I think it's funny too, because Noah Hawley has been really distancing himself from the prequels. Partially that's needed, A, because most people hate those movies, and B, if it undoes any kind of canon, it's those prequels, which kind of set up the idea that David created the xenomorph as a bioweapon. And I'm not gonna talk about the mural. It doesn't matter. And that's definitely not where they're going now. It's pretty obvious and apparent. A lot of people worry that it's going to mess up the canon of the actual main movies, but I don't know if that's worth talking about. But there's definitely room in the first movie to have Weyland-Yutani know a little bit about that creature in advance, the way that it's set up. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I always assumed they knew something about the alien, and that's why they were sent there in the first place, was to hopefully find it and capture it.
Or maybe even it's incidental, like, that's the thing, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think that's why they were sent there, because they probably were out there long before this happened. This show even happened. It takes longer than that to get wherever they're at. Hence the cryosleep and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they were sent there incidentally, and then after this show happens, now they know about it and they update Ash's.
Correct. Once they hear about this creature, they're like, that's the fucking thing. No way. Space is huge.
God, shit. Hell yeah.
And 937, hit him with the 937. You know, and it's because this show opens Alien Earth. It says the Maginot was like, took 64 years to get wherever they're going. And I think the Nostromo is like a blue collar vessel. Am I right? They're up there doing blue collar shit, I think.
Yeah. They're mining. Yeah. Some type of mining vessel.
Out there mining.
I love the names as like a history buff. I think it's really funny that the ship is named the Maginot.
Ooh, what's that mean?
I think it's named after, I forget the guy's name. It's a politician, something Maginot, but they created this thing called the Maginot Line, which was the French defensive fortification built along its border with Germany and Italy before World War II. So it's like this barrier to keep France safe that they spent a lot of time and effort on and money on,
it didn't
ultimately
work.
Failed completely. Yeah. So it's just kind of, I think that's a little tongue-in-cheek reference to that.
Oh, because it fails completely. Yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah.
I like the filmmaking. It opens as a direct homage to the Nostromo with the mess hall scene. And then since we all know how that went down and we assume how this is going to go down because of what the premise of the show is, they don't even bother showing the xenomorph do its thing. They just kind of, every time they show a character alone in this kind of almost montage, you get like a quick frame or two of a it has to be one frame because it's almost like superimposed. It's like one frame of murder flash forward, you know, and it creates a cool vibe. You get the idea like, oh, they're all slaughtered. We don't need to see this, even though I want to. Then it's like, we'll just fucking, and no, Holly's like, we'll just fucking watch Alien. And I'm like, well, I fucking will. That's, so.
I did.
There's even a cat. Maybe it's like a thing. All these vessels are supposed to have cats to keep people like mentally healthy on the journey or something.
You need a cat. Everyone loves having a cat, right?
We got to talk about Yang, but I want to talk about what you wanted to talk about first, whatever you were going to interject with.
Oh, I was going to talk about like how neat it was that there are more dangerous life forms on the ship than just the xenomorph. Like the xenomorph is definitely there, but there's also like these weird little
the flower thing,
like the big flower thing, the like scorpion bloodsucker worms, the weird eyeball tentacle monster.
It looks like they went to wherever Super Mario lives. I guess Super Mario World. There's like Goombas and you know what I mean?
If only they just jump on top of their heads, they'll kill them all.
That's what they got to do.
But like seeing the little bloodsucker guys like fill up with blood so quickly and then just roll around was gnarly. And then, dude, I feel like that little tentacle eyeball octopus thing is going to be like the standout creature from this season. Because even that first little bit when you see it in the cat is so disturbing and upsetting. And then when all of its eyes focus into one pupil. And all the kid droids are like, like they're still human in there because no android would be like, oh my God, get it away from me.
For sure. That would freak me out too. I totally get it. And apparently it's like a cordyceps kind of thing. Like once it gets in there, it can, because the cat was walking.
It was puppeteering.
And then the eyeball was like, ooh, I want one of those bodies. And was like trying to get in there. He'd be super bummed if he got in. Just a bunch of milk, just milk and wires. Fuck.
Ew. Get me out of here.
But Yang, that was, we talked about it on the YouTube video. We've talked about it just kind of as armchair therapists for one another. We don't know why this was included, or at least you have a somewhat theory, but I'm just baffled. So one of the crew members of the Maginot is just a sex pest who likes to like jerk off when everybody's in cryo sleep, and they're all aware of it, and they're like, you better stop. And what?
Quit doing that, Yang.
Think I didn't see that crane on my cryo glass? I know you're doing it again.
He's a sex pest too because he's just wandering around the crew with a very short robe, and that's it. Like everyone's like dressed up, and he's like, "Hello, everyone! I made my coffee."
He's ready to flash somebody.
Don't go to sleep tonight.
At any notice. Stop fucking jerking off when I'm in cryo sleep. Oh, stop fucking jerking off when I'm in cryo sleep. Did you just mock me? Like, that's a very serious thing. It's like, but he's out in space. He's not going to get in trouble for decades. You know, he's way too confident. It's such a strange thing. You're going to tell mother?
Because they set that up. That scene is so interesting because all the crew of the Maginot wake up. They have their brekkie. They're talking about the company and their job. And I was telling you that I think they have it as a red herring. Like he is supposed to be the android or the synthetic on board because he is like kind of away from everybody. You really only see his back for much of the scene. He's just kind of walking around stoically, not interacting. And they're cutting to flashes of him staring at people in their cryo beds and how creepy it is. And I think it's a red herring to make you think he's the synthetic and not Morrow, because Morrow's just shooting the shit with everybody, having a great old time. And then he's the one that's like, no, what the company wants, the company gets. Like, I think it's a good little twist on it.
And he lets that crew member get slaughtered in the hallway while he's, could easily let her in. And I guess there's not two people. There's not room for two people in the crash hole.
Yeah.
But he was strangely cold about it. But yeah, I love the throwback design of that whole ship and
the big mother room with the yellow lights. And like, I love how all these ships have, it looks like just a pilot's helmet that has electronics in it. And that's like the co-pilot or whatever mechanism, the mother board, I guess.
Ooh, motherboard. How cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noah Hawley had talked about how he thought I don't know if he phrased it this way specifically, but he gave the vibe at the very least that he thought the pristine kind of futuristic, polished look of Prometheus and Covenant was a mistake, and that he wanted to kind of harken back to, in the same way that Romulus did, the kind of dirty future realism of 1979's Alien, which is funny because Ridley Scott would have made it crispier and polished if he could. He just didn't have the technology and the budget probably, and it didn't exist yet, right? But or maybe not. 2001's a little more polished looking. Maybe it was just an aesthetic choice of the time, but because he was like, these are blue collar space people.
It's interesting that they're locked into some of the stuff because they're still doing that 80s futurism that the original movies set up. That's the language of the world of like typing to mother on a keyboard, which isn't like, if you made a sci-fi movie today, the characters wouldn't do that. They would just like, mother, do this, mother, do that, initiate program Delta. And there's Morrow typing in command keys into it because that's what they did in the first film. And I like that they're keeping in line with that feeling. But also when you get to the more expensive looking places like Boy Cavalier's place, that looks more like your Prometheus art style and stuff because it makes sense. It's another way to visually infer that there is a huge wealth gap and wealth divide. Even though they're on spaceships, it's like, here's this rundown, always wet spaceship.
Yeah, the design of it's all cool. I'm excited to see where this goes. I've talked to some friends who are critics that have like seen a lot more episodes than me, and I don't like spoilers. I don't even watch trailers, but I was like nervous about certain things, and I did get some clues as to, hey, things go in a very different direction than they are at currently, which is a good thing. You want things to progress, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm curious about that. And I have certain, you talked about the big three criticisms you've seen online. I've seen one that I really kind of agree with. And it's that toward the second episode, when Wendy reunites with her brother and unfortunately immediately reveals who she is to him, because I think it would have been fun if she was just like this overly familiar golden retriever stranger for a good couple of episodes. That would have been really funny, especially that actor. I like him a lot. And so it's like, I think he would have been really fun. Like, what is your deal?
That one little look he gives her when she's like, you talk to dad when they first meet up is really funny. Like, what?
Yes, I do. But he doesn't tell them that there's a monster in the building, Steve, and that is kind of strange. That's information that I think that they should have. And he's just like, let's go. And it's like, okay, there's 47 dead bodies. Maybe we should all run. Maybe we should be upset or scared or, it's a strange choice for him to just keep that info to himself and just kind of be chilling.
How do you think he's gonna make it out based off the way the second episode ends with the alien just tackling him out the hole in the wall and falling down into wherever they're falling to?
It could easily hold him in its tail and crawl. They do that a lot. And it's about time it wanted to impregnate somebody, because that's one of my criticisms has been like the behavior of this xenomorph is very much a slaughter. It does it for the love of the game instead of wanting to propagate its species. It's normally much more methodical, one by one kind of killer. We've never seen it take out 13 people in a room in 4 seconds before, and it does that multiple times in this show, which is fine. It's just an interesting xenomorph.
It's the Mr. October of xenomorphs. It's just hitting home runs like crazy at the World Series, but rich people in Victorian era outfits.
I like that sweet Reggie Jackson reference. And it's very meta because it's part of the show. I don't know. I hadn't thought ever. It had never occurred to me that he was dead or would not make it. They won't do that, but it might be cool because she's already so guilty that she made him stay anyway. That I wonder what that would do to the Wendy character if he did.
And that dude's almost been killed by the xenomorphs 3 times up to this point. So at a certain point, it's like, okay, come on. That thing can kill 6 people in a room instantly. And it's just like, this guy in particular, he's my little chew toy. I like to throw him around, have fun with him.
It would be a cool thing to do you gotta do the rescue them from the impregnation chamber scene in every Alien, right? So it's like if he was hanging there, a couple other guys who already had chest bursters, maybe. So we introduced that because we haven't seen a chest burst yet. We've seen the aftermath and the cryos, which, by the way, how many people had chest holes in that ship? More than one, I thought.
I can only remember the one.
Oh, okay. Because there might be some other xenomorphs running around, just growing.
Yeah, because they really only made a meal out of one of them because it was the guy that was stuck on the surgery table and it had burst through the glass and like, look at that, something burst out from inside of it.
Yeah, it's good. And they had the trail.
Yeah.
They follow the trail.
There could be more. Where did they get those eggs? Because there's the ovomorph. Are they called ovomorphs? Is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the eggs.
Because at the end of the second episode, they walk into a room that has like 6 or 7 eggs, complete with the blue fog, and that whole scene. I'm like, they're like, oh, what's his name? Hermit, get in here. And I'm like, he's the last one you want in there. Keep him at a safe distance, guys. Don't bring him in there. Not that they know, but I just was curious where that came from. Did the alien make those? Like, I'm a little confused as to where these ovomorphs kind of come from in these movies overall.
The queen drops them.
Well, in Aliens, yeah, but like,
and
how did these ones?
Alien versus Predator. They're apparently immortal because the Yautja has had that queen in the basement of that pyramid for thousands of years, just dropping eggs. And she's like, "This is terrible." So,
just another day.
Yeah, I just ordered. It's capitalism, am I right? I'm a mother. I love my children. I think that's still canon that a queen has to drop them. They obviously went to some obviously they found some kind of planet where they reside, and they took them. I don't know how they got away safely. They didn't, but they did for a while. And apparently they took all kinds of shit from somewhere.
Yeah, they took a lot of things, and there's that one character that has that line of dialogue where they lost a lot of people getting all of it.
That's true.
They've already suffered casualties even before they have their little morning brekkie scene.
And nobody's sadder than Yang because he's got less eye candy and cryo.
Oh, man.
Terrible. I lost some of my favorite people to watch. Now, Carl, he used to sleep face down, ass up. That was the best.
I love Sweet Cheeks Carl.
He tried to lay on his back because he knew what I was up to, but he would always roll over. And always got the same accent as the alien queen.
Laying more eggs today for Yang.
He loves to watch her lay the eggs too. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. We're very excited for future episodes. They drop every Tuesday on Hulu. You're probably getting this on a Monday. So you got one more day to see what else is going to go down. And I got one more day to figure out how to get these ads off my Hulus.
Yeah, you do.
But we appreciate you guys listening. We're on the Patreon side of things at patreon.com/streamingthings. We're about to wrap up our season 6 coverage and move on to season 7. So the Winds of Winter is dropping this week. We are well on our way into season 2 of Stranger Things on the main feed in anticipation of season 5 that's coming out in November. Our live show is still taking place on November 7th. There's a few tickets left available. You should check that out if you find yourself able to get to Cincinnati in November and see us live and hang out with the whole community. That's a really fun time. It's our 2nd annual. People have written in and asked us if we're covering the Welcome to Derry show on HBO, which I am personally really excited about. Probably not schedule-wise, but you never know. We're kind of crazy and silly and do random shit all the time, but
pretty tight through December.
Pretty tight sketch. We might do something like this for, crossing streams for different kinds of shows. Who knows? But yeah, we appreciate you guys for listening. Let us know what you're thinking of Alien Earth. You can write into the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. But that's all the time we have for right now, right at this moment. My name is Kit.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Streaming Things, streaming Alien Earth.
Happy streaming.